Hey, here I am. Good afternoon. I am Rob. I'm that developer dad, and it is still Thursday, July 18th. It's the afternoon, and this morning we kept working through our tabletop role playing game NPC generator application. We got all of the NPC generator stuff pulled out of the AI subsystem and back into the main NPC gen application, and we're going to be able to leave that AI stuff alone for the foreseeable future. So this afternoon, I want to fix up some of the user experience and improve the workflow a little bit. Now, yes, this is just a console application. There's not a whole lot of UX present, but you need to remember that user experience is more than just graphics and colors and fonts and buttons and spacing on a web page or in an app. It's also the workflow, the speed at which we get response back from when we might make a request. We might want to opt into some long running process or some AI extension of what we're trying to do. So, what we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to alter the way an NPC is generated by first, we're going to do all the randoming quick stuff to pick the species, background, and vocation. And we're going to display that JSON object out on the console app. And then we're going to prompt the user to see if they actually want to generate the AI created description for the character that was just created, or if they're good and what they have there is fine, or if they just want to generate another one. So let's get into that. This is currently open. It's in progress. I created this GitHub issue this morning. Let's dive in. So we don't need access to our we don't need to have our resource access stuff loaded up. We don't need access to the manager code right now or the framework or anything like that. We do, however, need to be in the character workloads. So there's two steps to this process. There's describing the NPC, and then there's generating the NPC, which optionally allows us to include the AI. Now, that's fine for a console app, which is what we're dealing with right now. So let's just continue on with that concept. So we'll come out to our program CS and we'll scroll down to where we're actually doing the work. And let's write some comments, or we'll fix up some comments instead of assuming that we want to include the AI generated description. Let's show a preview of the NPC attributes and ask the user if they want to get the AI description. So let's also do this in a loop so that we can just run this application until the user says, I'm done. So in order to do that, we need to set up a string stop phrase equals stop. And then we need string user input equals string dot empty, while user input dot to upper does not equal stop phrase dot to upper. String npc JSON equals, well, we'll just copy this. We'll cut it, paste it right here. V V, and we can get rid of that true because we don't want to generate the excuse me, we don't want to generate the AI stuff. Now, what we need to do is, if we don't put in a prompt, then we're never going to get out of this loop. It's just going to keep generating NPCs forever. Now let's drop in a console dot write line. Here's your new NPC. Now, user input equals prompt user do you want an AI description of this character? Let's shove that to the side. Now, I don't have a prompt user method, so we're going to need to create that. Main, I've got all of this white space down here. So we're going to need a new method, static string, prompt user, string, prompt text, valid string array, valid answers. And we need to set up the valid answers. And those, we don't need to redo those every time. So, string generate description prompt equals this. Whoops. There we go. Generate description prompt. String array. Generate description options equals new. It doesn't like the way I did that. I think I just have to do it this way. Boop. Yep. Okay. Generate description options. Now, the reason we're passing that array of strings in is so that string prompt. Now, we already have the prompt text. Answers text equals string dot join valid answers, and we're going to interpolate this with choose from we'll close the interpolation token. There we go. Console dot write line prompt text and then while string answer equals string dot empty. And while valid answers dot contains answer. And do we have a equality comparer? Quality, nope. String comparer dot ignore case. Let's say invariant culture, ignore case. Equals false. Now, valid answers. Okay, so that doesn't contain a definition for contains. All right, that's fine. Let's just use an IEnumerable of string. Doesn't like that much. Not be used with type arguments. You're silly. Oh, wait, I bet I need to import system.collections.generic. So valid answers.contains, answer, string comparison, invariant culture, in our case equals false. We're going to console.writeLine answers text. And we're not going to write line. We are going to console.write choose from that, and then we're going to say answer equals console.readLine. Yep. So this may come back as null. If it comes back as null, we're going to just mask it to string.empty. What's valid answers complaining about now? Memory extensions.contains. What are you complaining about? Fix formatting, remove redundant equality. Yeah. Fine. List of strings contains. No overload takes 2 items. Contains answer. So this is going to be silly. List of string prompt options equals valid answers dot to list. I'm going to turn this back into a string array. There we go. Copy this. Do that. But we are going to dot select s dot trim dot to upper. So we're going to move all of that stuff to uppercase. We're going to uppercase upper, and we're also going to trim it right in here. So prompt user. All right, not all code paths return. That's fine. We're not there yet. And we'll finally return our answer. Generate options, yn. And string continue generate description trigger equals y. If user input dot to upper equals generate description trigger dot to upper string description equals app dot describe NPC. We're going to pass in the NPC JSON. And this returns a task. So we can't just do that. So what we have to do is get the result of that task. Console.writeLine. This may take a few seconds. Please be patient. And then when it's done, we're just going to write the console or the description out to the console.writeLine NPC description. And then we are going to user input equals prompt user. And I want to define some strings and stuff for that. String continue prompt equals press type stop type the stop phrase to exit or anything else to make another. Our string array. Well, we don't really have valid options. So we're just going to make an empty one. Continue prompt options equals array dot empty of type string. And then we got to come down here. Now, before we do that, I just noticed that I need to do something up here. So we're going to, our generate description trigger, instead of using the same string in both places, I want to declare that trigger string. And then when I'm building my array of acceptable options, I'm going to pass that into the array initializer rather than using the same magic string twice. Now, our continue prompt options, this is going to be pretty freeform. So I don't want to limit what an end user pushes into the variable when we prompt for it. So down here, instead of checking to make sure my the answer text is in that collection, if answer dot any is true, then we want to do that while loop, not answer any, but prompt options. Otherwise, else, and I just realized that we need to do this a little bit differently if we've got a list of options versus something open-ended. So I'm going to cut that down here, paste it in there. But if there are not predefined options, I want to console write the prompt text and then say this, and that'll be that. Prompt user, we have to pass those variables. So our continue prompt and continue prompt options. Good. And of course, we're testing that user input at the top of our while loop. Let's see what happens. Let's run this. And it is building. So we've got a halfling hunter who grew up as an acolyte. I'm going to put in H just to see what happens. Good. H is neither Y or N. I'm going to say, nah, let's not describe that guy. And we'll just hit enter. How about a dwarf tinker who grew up as an acolyte? Nah. An elf knight who started off life as a charlatan. That could be interesting. Let's go ahead and generate that. And this may take a few seconds. Please be patient. It's doing its thing. We can see back here that the AI thing is chugging away. It's building. Excuse me. It's still generating. And these results are getting a little long in the tooth. I think I might want to tighten up the the max tokens on this prompt a little bit. All right. Now we're going to want to put a few more empty lines here, but let's see here. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to want to put some blank space between the NPC description and the name. Sir Elendor of the Silvered Lance. Ooh. So tall and slender. This guy's a full elf, yep. With a mane of silver hair that cascades down his shoulders. His piercing green eyes are often hidden behind an ornate helm. Yeah. Honorable yet cunning, Sir Elendor possesses a sharp wit that masks a strategic mindset. So on and so forth. His current circumstances involve him being falsely accused of treachery by those who once trusted him. Oh, goodness. And then, of course, his background paragraph. Yeah. Despite the accusations and tarnished, let's just say stop. Great. So that was cool. And that's a significantly better experience than what we had before. Console.WriteLine. Just going to put in some blank lines around this stuff. There we go. Description. Let's add a couple more. And one more right line. I just want to write some asterisks out to the console to give ourselves a little bit more visual space. There. And so we prompt the user. And I want to do the same thing here. And let's save that. Let's run it one more time. I want to see how this stuff looks on the screen. So we've got a halfling brewer who grew up as an acolyte. That sounds interesting. Let's go ahead and generate it. And I kind of want to watch the server in the background. It's doing its thing. And I've got a message from somebody named Nancy Carroll who is asking for an invite to my Discord community. I don't really have a Discord community set up yet. I would say just follow me here. And I've been posting the stream announcements when I remember to in a couple of my friends' communities. They have a promote yourself thing, and I've been pasting the "Hey, I'm going live here" messages there, and we're generating. I really need to turn down the amount of stuff going in there. But we've got our halfling brewer named Brewmaster Brindlebeard. He's short and rotund, has a ruddy complexion, reddish brown hair, so on and so forth. Yeah. Benevolent yet eccentric, passionate about crafting unique and flavorful concoctions. His curiosity often leads to unconventional. I think I know this guy in real life. A friend of ours used to own a brewery, and he wasn't diminutive, but this really sounds like the guy that used to own Fourth Creek Brewing here in my hometown. Currently operating a small bustling brewery nestled in the heart of a thriving market district, is known for his signature ale, yeah. raised as an acolyte within a halfling community that revered the art of brewing. So there was a whole religion in the halfling community that worshipped beer. I think that's perfect. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And let's just stop because that's all right. And we're in a pretty good spot here. So I think what I'm going to do is let's pin my solution explorer and we'll go to my git changes. This commit alters the workflow of generating an NPC by first randomly picking the species, background, and vocation for the NPC, and then allowing the user to decide, not row, but to decide whether to generate an AI description. And I've got some GitHub issues for this already listed. And I'll come over here, issue 47. Yep, improve the user experience. I'm going to go ahead and commit this. Now, something else I've been wanting to do is we've got our stop phrase, we've got our user input. We're defining these prompt setups. And what if we said what if we extended this a little bit? What if we wanted to let them pick a species? So there's generate NPC. Let's describe this. Randomly generates an NPC from the available options provided by the configured rule set. Whoops. Passes the NPC data to an LLM to generate a detailed description. Public void for now, get NPC options. Retrieves a dictionary of the different options that can be used when generating an NPC. The dictionary key identifies the NPC attribute. The value of a dictionary entry is the list of choices. So let's dictionary of string and then string array. And this doesn't return anything yet. And we need to add this to our interface. Before we do that, I want to fix my comment. Get NPC options. I also want to fix the casing on this method name. Let's grab this. Copy. I have to go to iCharacter workloads. And I'm going to collapse these comments because they're taking up a lot of vertical space. I'm going to paste this here. Pop back over here. Copy this. Paste it over here. Terminate that line. Now we're going to need a place to get those NPC options, and I feel like our townsfolk manager is probably the place to do that. Let's go to the definition over here. So townsperson, generate townsperson, save townsperson, yeah. All right. But we need dictionary, string array, get NPC options. Retrieves the dictionary of options that are used when creating an NPC. We're going to save everything. Right now our townsfolk manager is broken because it does not have an implementation for that method. And this is something I've been wanting to add for a while. I just haven't gotten to it. And I haven't fully planned out how I'm going to do it. I'm just kind of jamming. But here's our get NPC options. Oop. Let's do this. Dictionary, string, and string array, NPC options equals a new dictionary, return NPC options, S, and we should be able to build the solution. All right, it's done, or it's working. Not all code paths, return a value. We'll fix that up in a minute. Result must contain a non-null value when exiting the constructor. That's a warning. I'll fix that later. But this, I got to fix first. Otherwise, it's going to get grouchy at me. So over here in this, I'm going to say var options equals npc manager dot get npc options, return options. There we go. Now, out here in our program, string select npc options prompt equals do you want to pick any of the NPC attributes? Now, our generate description trigger, let's say we're going to rename this to yes, no trigger. Actually, just yes trigger. And we're going to rename this to yes, no options. And we're going to be able to reuse that. But bool prompt to select NPC options equals, for now we're going to say false, var NPC options equals app dot get NPC options. And NPC options dot, do I have a count? I do, is greater than 0. We're only going to prompt to see if the end user wants to select things if we have options to choose from. So, if prompt to select NPC options is true, we're going to do one thing. And that's going to significantly alter our workflow. Else, well, it's not going to significantly alter it because string npc JSON equals string dot empty. All right, now we can get rid of that. Excuse me. And then npc JSON equals app.generate NPC. And that's fine for now, but right now our prompt to select NPC options is going to be false. String user selects equals prompt user with select NPC options prompt options prompt yes no options if how do we evaluate that down here? Yep, if user input dot user input dot user selects dot trim dot to upper equals yes trigger dot to upper else cut this up into here, paste that there. We're going to have to do something snazzy in here. So var collected selected options equals a new dictionary of string and nullable string. And we're coming up on 2 o'clock. So rather than continue working through this, I'm just going to make myself some notes. Set up a static function to prompt the user for each list of NPC options in the NPC options dictionary. When building the answers list for each, add a choice for IDK you pick. Once accumulate the selections in the selected options var and pass that to an overload of generate NPC that lets us use the user's choices when building the NPC attributes. And we're going to do that tomorrow. For now, I need to sign off. It has been a pleasure. My name is Rob, that developer dad, and we are on the verge of having a pretty nice NPC generation workflow. Now, for now, we're only choosing species and background and vocation for the NPC. But I think as soon as we've got these experiences sorted out and this workflow sorted out, we're going to be able to maybe add some more options to select from. The first one that I want to add is choosing a gender. And that is going to be a function of species because some species are agendered or non-gendered. And it's going to be interesting to see how that applies and how that additional information, when we pass it to the large language model, impacts the output of that model. And that reminds me, there's one more thing I want to do in this stuff here. And that would be down here in the AI workload manager. Here we go. Guard function exists. We do all the things. We add the parameters. Execute function async. I think we're actually doing this up here in the resource access. I want to cut down on how many tokens this thing uses or is allowed to use when calculating its response. Because right now we've got it set to 1,000, and that's kind of banana pants. Let's cut that in half. And just before we go, I'm going to go ahead and run this. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so a human navigator that grew up as a charlatan. Let's go ahead and generate it. And I want to see what kind of response we get back. So it's doing its thing. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Something else we need to do is capture the usage metrics when we invoke the LLM so that we can see how many tokens get passed in our prompt and how many tokens are coming out. Because if, let's say we weren't building this using a local language model, like running on my laptop here in my house, if I were using a cloud-based one, I would need to keep a really close eye on my token consumption because you got to pay for it when you're running it in the cloud. And that's a capability I want to build into my stack right now so that I don't forget to do it later. And here is our response. So a human navigator who grew up as a charlatan. He's wiry, charismatic yet deceptive. He has an innate ability to charm those around him, though he often uses this trait for personal gain. Despite his questionable morals, he is fiercely loyal to his crew and possesses a deep knowledge of the sea. Currently aboard a merchant vessel, he seeks new trade routes while avoiding conflict with rival pirates and marauders. He's on edge due to rumors of an impending naval blockade that could jeopardize his latest venture. Wow, this is, as a game master, this is giving me all kinds of story seeds that I can play with on my own. And as a game master who frequently gets writer's block when I'm trying to come up with, well, shit, what am I going to do with my player's next session? This is fantastic as far as sparking my imagination and kind of giving my creativity the kick in the pants that I need sometimes to push forward with a brand new story or a new chapter to the story or act to the overall Plotline. So raised in the coast, bustling coastal town known for its cunning merchants, Captain Elliot Starling quickly learned the art of persuasion and deceit from a young age. It allowed him to navigate through life's complexities with ease, though it also instilled a sense of mistrust in his dealings. So on and so forth. Boogity boo. Oh, this is lovely. And I can't even take credit for that. It's just the LLM. But I am delighted by this output. For today, I'm going to type stop and press any key to close that window and wish you all a good evening, and I'll see you again in the morning.